Hello and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. I am Luce, and since my Viper reached level 90, I figure I should probably do what I did with Pictomancer and finish off the Viper storyline. Didn't quite vibe with me as much as Picto did, but I will say it came into a new light now that I finally hit level 90. But for the moment, now let me see, if I remember right, it's been a while, but Keshka here came to this country following Tural Vidral, basically an auspice, or like Valley Garmanda, since I've already done the main story, Dawntrail. And he taught us the Viper powers in return for helping him get out of a jam, since he came unsure of our local customs. Viper in the Vidral Shadow. Having conquered his fear of questioning the locals, Keshka is ready to do something else. Oh, good to see you, Coda. After a lot of asking around, I dug up some new leads on Ixoljama. Yeah, I'm never gonna pronounce any of these correctly. Then again, I'm also the guy who keeps mixing up the... Wasn't his at first, though. Well, at first, only stories of interest were Gridanian poachers dealing with the so-called exotic meats, juveniles. In other words, too young and too dead to be what we're after. That detour notwithstanding, there are a few other tidbits that might be useful. I have my own thoughts on the matter, but I want to hear yours too, alright? Alright. Much obliged. Our adventure came across a whole bunch of strikingly beautiful feathers just outside town, and ended up giving them to some kids, playing with ever since. More to the point, there's talk of a huge beast with glowing blue eyes flying towards a place called Black Shroud. Red feathers, blue eyes, put it together, sounds an awful like Ixok Majun. It seems it's had enough of Thanlands, pick the Shroud as its new stamping ground. What's your take on it all? Sounds like a promising lead to me. I knew you'd agree. After the mystery meat I had to sample just to squeeze information out of the butcher's of the market, I'm glad it paid off. As for our next move, I reckon we ought to take an airship to Gridania. For that, I hear a fella named Gavin over the Adder's Nest should be able to tell us more. I'll meet you there. I'm making a lot of progress, I guess, while we're here. Oh. Actually, yeah, that's a good time to show. As you can see, I've actually been making a pretty good amount of progress, especially on Monk. Monk was like 61 when the expansion started, and already it's almost maxed out. So soon I'll have nothing below 90. Which is ideal because that means everything is at Dawntrail level. And as you'll notice, I'm using the artifact gear for Viper. That is largely because, as I learned during the Pictomancer quest, it's actually going to be probably going to be somewhat challenging if I go with the minimum eye level gear compared to. I do have better gear, don't get me wrong, but I figure if I use the weaker stuff, it'll actually be a challenging fight, because Pictomancer actually forced me to use my mitigation and think through carefully. And I could just warp there, but you know... I'm gonna have fun with the airship landing. I imagine this story is going to finish long before the stream does, so I'll pop in another game, or I'll try and think of something else to grind. Passage to Gridania. I still have a lot of blue quests I need to do, because blue quests are essential because they unlock stuff. Sometimes it's minor, like just hunt stuff or higher level hunt options. Sometimes it's actually major, like an actual mechanic. Actually, funny thing, after looking up a couple mounts that wouldn't be too rough to grind out, I found, because I think I've mentioned before, I don't really involve myself with crafting or gathering in this game. I only really do it for the reputation quests in each expansion, of which there's usually need at least one of each. However, crafting in this game and gathering, but mostly crafting, has its own levels of progression, storylines, and even relic weapons. You can, well, tools, like relic tools, I guess would be the right term. So yeah, there's actually... It's not basically a side thing you do to supplement your real job. Crafting is an actual job in and of itself in this game. But I decided, since some of the old stuff is pretty easy to brute force just by gear, much like how I was able to solo Neo X Death and God Kefka on Gunbreaker just because of the gear level difference from when they were first released to now. You can kind of do that there. So I looked at some easy mounts, and I quickly found out what I need to do. More specifically, I can worry about later. For now, let's go. Story. It's a funny story, but I'll give it later. I imagine most coming here are for the title. How might I help? I'm after Tyrol. I'm searching for this dangerous creature that's come from another continent. Yeah, most people are probably gonna know. Actually, I don't think most here or would even know about auspices. That's primarily known in the Far East. As it happens, I'm aware of a beast that matches the description of this Ixoxa Majun. Our scouts spoke of its blue eyes and red wings, of its aggressive nature leading to attack of all who dare approach. So it really is here in the Shroud, and up to no good already. Thankfully, there's been no deaths so far, but it's only a matter of time before a merchant or adventurer becomes the first. I believe it came here in search of new territory. Thonland wasn't to its liking, so it's testing the Shroud. I guess it makes sense. And the desert's gonna be slim pickings if you aren't a creature specifically built to live in the desert. It would appear so. I'll tell the others you're pursuing the beast, and that lead assurances they can. Is that alright with you? Yes, sir. The more the merrier. Slaying the beast, slaying the bastard's what matters, and I ain't too proud to accept help when it's offered. Where's it last seen? It's in the South Shroud. Once you head there, go for Quarry Mill and speak to Lieutenant Golias. He's leading the search. I guess I can talk about something for Dawntrail then. Alright, so one of the big world bosses in Dawntrail is a giant snake that lives underground. Actually, if you go with the lore stuff, it actually is just as powerful as Valley Garmonda, which is pretty crazy since Garmonda took Galul Jaja to defeat it. Wait, some 80 years past. However, it managed to avoid detection because it works much more subtle, in a much more subtle manner. Valley Garmonda was up in everyone's faces with how much it was wanted to destroy stuff, but the Serpent Lord, he stayed underground, sent minions to do its bidding, that sort of thing. The deep dungeons. House of the Dead. I've debated if I want to do some of that later, but I'll worry about it. But anyways, we're still Dawntrail, so focus on Dawntrail lore. Yeah. Actually, in fact, if you go with the Fate quest line that leads to it, I guess if you don't play this game, a world boss is basically an open world boss fight that usually has the server working together to kill. They usually drop some nice stuff that can be exchanged for rewards, that kind of stuff. But you have to do some of the open world quests like Fates. Yeah, you have to do a chain of these in that area, and even then only has a chance of appearing. And once it dies, it has a cooldown of like 24 hours or something like that. And from there, that just opens up the chance for it to spawn. It gradually goes up to a certain point, but it's always going to be a chance when completing the storyline. So it's a pretty big deal whenever one does spawn. And when you do that quest line, a lot of people want... The storyline is basically you helping a hunter seek it out, but others will often question if it even really exists, or if he's just chasing some illusion. Which makes sense normally, but of course it's a video game. They're not going to have us chase someone who's after something that doesn't actually exist. So, it's actually pretty interesting. Innocent stork. I don't believe I have the pleasure. I gather you two are in pursuit of the creature. I'm guessing that's Lieutenant Golias, but who are these two? You must be Keshka and Koda. The Adder's Nest sent word to expect you both. I'm Golias, the officer in charge of this operation. This is Innocent Stork, who has provided us with vital information. A merchant here employee spotted the beast on the way back to Ulda. She's also taken the liberty of sending a team of experts to assist in tracking the target. At no small expense, I might add, but compared to the losses my business would suffer if the creature were allowed to roam free, I deem it a worthy investment. As our goals are aligned, perhaps you wish to join my experts in the field? If so, you'll find them at Roots Lake. I'm sure you'll find them swimmingly. Looks like we're late to the party. Let's go hear what they have to say. Sounds good to me. This mount is from the Fall Guys collab. I don't remember if it's still active anymore. I don't think it is. But it was one of the things that kept people tied to tide people over until the expansion dropped. I just did enough to get the mountain glamour stuff. I didn't do enough for the title and such. Oh, I do have a new title compared to usual, that reminds me. This is actually from Easter event in 2015, before they started making sure that seasonal events gave you stuff they could toss in the cash shop afterwards, so people who miss out can get it at a price. So, this is one of the titles that if you don't have it, I'm afraid you can't get it anymore. Compared to Makai Master, I don't know. I guess I kind of like the... I don't know, it kind of looks nice. The rarest title I actually have is Keeper of Knowledge, but for some reason it didn't feel right on this particular character. Don't know why. Fresh meat for the hunt, eh? Order came down to let you tag along, but don't get underfoot. We're looking for signs of creatures so our naturalist can predict its movements. We'll then lay traps where it is expected to appear. Got themselves a proper plan. Seeing as how they've been so accommodating, we might as well join the search. Sounds good to me. Not sure I like the pointy shoes, but I do think the rest of the outfit looks good. Boom. Sign of activity. The dung appears to be that of an enormous beast, judging by dry appearance and muted odor. It was excreted quite some time ago. Not the most pleasant thing, but nonetheless, remains like that are always good for tracking, helping track something. It's also why some animals will bury theirs or something to make sure it can't be tracked as easily. The dung exudes a foul odor, lingering warmth. It was recently deposited. Are we gonna go there and it's just on the toilet or something? I guess that's not the best way to go, but we needed to take it out somehow. Signs of activity. These creatures bear marks of enormous claws in their hindquarters, suggesting they were struck down as they attempted to flee. Interesting, but they weren't eaten. Alright, I have to catch up on a lot of my job quests. Yeah, you can tell which of these jobs I enjoy and which I don't. I've actually been getting quite a bit of progress. Actually, since it's been a while streamed, I've actually been getting quite a bit of progress on my on the Shared Fate mount, because you need 500 vouchers and I have well over 300 now. And I got Bard, Machinist, Red Mage, Summoner, and working on Black Mage now there to grind those out. The rest I'm grinding in other ways, or I'm saving them to do with the, I probably shouldn't be focusing too much on account, but then again, it could be useful for me when I come back to these later to see how far I progressed. Kind of funny. Yeah, I've actually been draining, even after I streamed last, I've been draining out my rested experience bar for quite a bit. In fact, that's one of the ways I was able to get Viper maxed out here. I only finally managed to get some more rested back, and that's going to be going away as soon as I start doing some of the other grinds. Like, whether or not I stream it, I'll definitely be using these last two tanks to push the trusts up. Oh well. I found a few signs of activity. What about you? It's not eating these antelope. What is it eating? Corpses of grazing animals, gouged. Same here. The size and depth of the wounds consistent with how Ilsak hunts. Just like back in Tyrol, it's killing not to eat, but just to eat, but also mark territory to show anyone and everyone who's boss. Ah, that explains. I was wondering why it would slay those but not eat them. There you are. Managed to sniff anything out? Sir, aside from a couple dung hills, we've also dead wildlife, most likely the work of Ilsak. I reckon it's close, somewhere north of the swamp. We came to the same conclusion. This predator makes no attempt to cover its tracks. Clearly it survived so long by virtue of its immense proportions, and in spite of its diminished intelligence. Oh, we got all wrong. He left those tracks on purpose to see how we react. Are you saying the beast is testing us? That's absurd. This level of foresight and cunning required to do so is far beyond that of lesser beings. As for the corpses, those animals must not have been to its taste. I suggest using fresh cuts of prime livestock as bait. The bloodier the better. Once a creature's been enticed, surrounding and subduing it's but a formality. Hate to break it to you, but Ixok is way too clever to fall for that. You're gonna need every trick in the book and then some. Rest assured, I've considered every eventuality. Yeah, and even if there's merit to your advice, I'll not let it be said that our success was a product of anyone's genius but mine and mine alone. What does it make? Differences make who came up with what? A monetary difference, unfortunately. Innocent Stork offers better rewards based on performance. Well, that's going to cause a bit of clouded judgment now, isn't it? I don't even think about trying to steal our thunder. We're the ones who'll bring back Ixok, whatever its name is, not you. Hey, listen, we're trained to fight large predators like these. If you got any sense, you'll let us take the lead for the fight. And put our lives in the hands of strangers? I think not. There's no place in our strategy for you. Stand aside and wait for further instructions. Alright, fine, have it your way. If you're half the hunters you say you are, Ixok's as good as dead, right? Well, they do have a full RPG party there, including a clear healer and tank, at least. Come on, Kodo, let's even to it. Nothing good ever came from working with people you can't trust, even I know that. That's true, and it works both ways. If they don't trust us, then it's probably better not to push it. Then it is decided, you two will wait at the southern end of the lower paths. Be ready to give chase in case the beacher escapes. Not that it will, but, you know. And again, it's good to cover one's bases no matter what. Yeah, I was told Viper doesn't really get fun until 90, and boy, they weren't kidding. I guess in that way it's kind of like Reaper, where I felt like it didn't get too much fun until I unlocked Enshroud, the super mode, at level 80. In contrast, this also means if it gets synced downward, it feels like it's missing something, which is unfortunate. On that note, since Monk was reworked in Dawntrail, I must say I do like it better than it used to be. The whole reason I ended up having it stuck at 60 for so long was because I didn't like having to juggle all those meters. But it became but now with the changes in Dawntrail, it gets basically everything it cares about most at 50 or 60 and then gets refined from there. So even when synced down, it still feels pretty good. On that note, while leveling Black I've learned to love Umbral Soul. But yeah, fate grinding is really helping out. I've also been doing weekly hunts to get there. I finally joined. That's right, I finally joined the hunt to Discord to keep things track. And the trains are pretty nice. I'm gonna miss the multiple instances of Dawntrail when they leave in the 0.1 patch, because as of now, a single Dawntrail hunt train at weekly reset is basically your entire weekly tomes capped out right there, and it's pretty nice. Viper should be the one to finish it off, to properly avenge our brothers, but it doesn't matter who does the deed as long as the beast dies. Well, I'm glad you can understand that. At least when they bring back its head, we can congratulate them on a job well done. And hey, we can all go home early, and I can just get the achievement, and that'll be nice. It comes with a title and all that. I'm not one of those people into achievements for achievement's sake, but I do care when they have something tangible, like mounts, minis, and titles. Awful quiet, don't you think? Oh, you hear that? Yeah, that's sounding good. Must be the hunting party. Came for the Morth. Let's go. Let's groove. Let's move, not groove. Yes, let's dance our way there. I'm sure that won't be a problem. Maybe I should put something a little less silly here. Let's see here. Mounts. Do I have anything good here? Innocent Gwibber doesn't seem half bad. This is from Innocence. We entered a party with 5 people, and it took over 50 runs to get everyone a drop. Oh dear. Well, how did the warrior die? Those have so much healing. Oh, with the healer, The DPS is bad alone, but with the healer, there's not much else you can do there. But hey, paladins can solo, right? Right? Oh, this is bad, real bad. Dang, if only I had one of my many healer jobs ready to heal. Well, actually, you can't be healer for this, so that actually makes sense. I know it hurts, please. Tell us what happened. Was watching us the whole time. That fresh lamb should draw the target out of hiding. Though if I lace it with a toxin, success is practically guaranteed. Toxin? We were explicitly told not to kill it in case you've forgotten. Of course not. It can be used as sedative, highly potent, but only lethal if applied in excess. If you lack the stomach, I'll do it myself. Naturally, my personal contribution will be detailed, to ensure credit's given where due. What the hell's your plan at? If it catches wind, the plan's ruined! Shouldn't we go after them? No, it'll only make things worse. If that bookworm wants to stick his neck out for a few gil more, I say let him. What? No, ah! Can't help but notice we haven't even seen it yet. Oh, there it is. God's have mercy, there it is! Stay calm, nothing's changed except the bait. Now's our chance. That's pretty much our best shot then, yeah. While it's distracted, hit it with all you got. Oh, that's a thaumaturge, not a conjurer. So black magic, not white. That's... no wonder they were screwed. Actually, he was probably the scholar, so in that case... Ah! So it followed him after he tried to flee. They were screaming as I ran, but I could still hear. You're right, it knew. It knew. Keshka, Koda, by the 12, what happened here? They tried to lay out a trap for the enemy, but it seems that ended up being a trap for them. The hunters have become the hunted. Oh dear. I shall see the remains are recovered and necessary rites performed. Perhaps you'd be so kind as to return to Quarry Mill and share these unfortunate tidings with innocent Stork. Yeah, it definitely caught them unaware, but at the same time... well, it only caught 2 of them unaware. They still technically had a team. They could have DPS raced it, but it wasn't enough. Oh, nice that it teleported me here right away. Aside from leveling jobs, I do appreciate just how much content this game really has, especially after playing Warcraft, where they removed like half the content after. Like after I left and Shadowlands ended, they introduced a lot new content, but they also removed quite a bit. Like the factions... 4 faction wars there, that's gone. All that apparently. I'm told that what they replaced it with was a lot better, and that's good to hear, but at the same time, it also means I don't have the option to go back and do any of that if for whatever reason. Like, as mentioned, I did actually complete the Baldestian Arsenal in Eureka a while ago, and that's basically 3 expansions later, because that was Stormblood content, and it's now Dawntrail. That couldn't happen if it was a Warcraft thing, since they would have removed it. On that note, don't let anyone tell you this game has no grind, because holy crap, the Fate grind for the Sugar Glider, or mount, has been an absolute grind. Like I said, I've maxed out 5 classes from 90 to 100, all because of that grind, and there's more, and I'll still have plenty more than I anticipate casualties, but it was a massacre. Ixoc has grown bolder. Before it only hunted animals, lone travelers, prey it knew could handle with ease. In its past brushes with death caught it to be cautious. That's probably why it fled Troll in the first place, but it just outwitted a group of armed hunters. Instead of running away from trouble, it went looking for it. This was a sport, a game, it was having fun. And now that's had a taste, it's only gonna want more. My poor judgment invited this quality. I must make amends. Please allow me to assist you in pursuing this creature. Even without a team of experts at my disposal, I believe my network of contacts should prove useful in gathering vital information. We'll be grateful for information, but let's take care of the rest. Understood. I place my faith in your ability as Vipers. I appreciate it, ma'am. If you turn up any leads, be sure to let us know. I best return to the Adder's Nest and deliver my report. It's imperative we inform the populace of the threat posed by Ixoc. Might I ask you to use the quarry mill as your temporary base of operations? Knowing where to find you will make it easier to coordinate our efforts. Suits me fine. Besides, I got plenty to do here, like learn about this neck of the woods and the critters and whatnot. While I have you, one thing I want to know, how did the twin adders get their name? Oh, I beg your pardon, what does that have to do with Ixoc? It's more... nothing really, it's just that us Vipers based our fighting style on snakes, so they're near and dear to our hearts. Might even say we have a reverence for them. Is that so? I suppose we do also feel a kinship towards snakes. Yeah, it's nice to see some snakes with a more positive reputation. The name Twin Adders comes from the pair of white snakes of the Gridanian Steward, though that imagery predates the city-state's own founding. There's more I could tell you, though I fear the matters must take precedence. With history as long as that, we'd be talking till the alpacas came home. I'd love to hear more about it, but I understand we have to wait. I best get to learning what I can about Ixoc. When I see to that, while I see to that, maybe you ought to squeeze in some more training. Yeah, you're supposed to be doing these along as you level, and I'm sure most do. I'm just doing them all at once for the sake of the story to have on record. And I guess even the aforementioned quest I made, it was technically introduced in Stormblood, but it started at level 70, so you could technically do it. Yeah, it was introduced in Shadowbringers, but you could do it at Stormblood content since it's level 70. And even then, it seems to be classified as Heavensward content, so something you could do there, I guess. So yeah, another thing that I'm glad was never removed, even though I'm late to the party on it. Actually, I can probably show it here. What are these? Yeah, Tyrol Bicolor Gemstone. I need 500 of these to get the Sugar Glider. It's 100 for each individual one here, and for Bicolor Gemstones, you can hold a max of 1,500. So 15 vouchers is the max you can hold at a time. So you can, and you get about 12 to 16 bicolor gems for each individual fate you do. So you can do the math to figure out how rough that grind's been and how much I still have left to do. Yeah, there's a reason I said I capped several jobs on the way. I had a bad feeling when I woke up this morning, and sure enough, Ixoc has struck again. Goliath, Innocent Stork are trying to narrow down where it'll appear next, but so far they've come up empty. I heard Goliath is over at Fallguard Float talking to witnesses. Let's see what he's learned. Actually, mount him. Where is it? Here we are. Well, Destiny Arsenal is pretty easy nowadays, but it's also in large part because, a lot of players have a community around it, so they can do it whenever they feel like. The dungeon is actually really difficult, like Absolute Virtue cameos from Final Fantasy XI. Now, it's not quite as insane as in 11, where it was that one of those 18-hour boss fight was a different one, but it was there on par with that. In 14, it's not quite that bad, but it is literally invincible if a party outside the dungeon doesn't do a specific mission to make it, you know, vulnerable. And yeah, that means a party completely unrelated to the one doing the dungeon has to do their thing in order to arrive. In order to actually make the dungeon winnable, so. And also, it has a number of mechanics where if you fail them, it immediately ejects you from the dungeon. You won't get the achievement, the drops, including the Ozma mount at all. So it is surprisingly very punishing. It's just very easy nowadays because if you're going, most of the time you're going to be going with the community who's doing it regularly, and that's experts. So basically, as long as you follow the instructions they'll give you at the start, it's pretty easy. Same with innocent storks hunters, leaving corpses where they lie, uneaten, to make a coin. This is my claim. You live and die by my pleasure. Thank you for coming. The twin adders represent the two races that were working together after being divided for so long, and I imagine Keshko is going to find that very similar to what happened with Tural. Thank you for coming. I expect Keshko has shared some details, but it's even worse than we thought. Ixok grows more bold and with deadly consequences. For a blessing, the people here remain calm, though we must act quickly to avoid widespread panic. The adders have called upon anyone with information to share and ask they gather here. As we requested that any detail will be reported, no matter how small, we find ourselves somewhat inundated. I'm certain, however, that among the accounts are clues to locating our quarry. We can help with that. All we gotta do is ask folks here what they've seen, right? Yes, that'll be most helpful. Perhaps you could start near the Aetheryte, while Coda asks near the bobbing cork. Sounds good to me. I'd recommend questioning the adventurers. With their curious nature and perchance for getting into trouble, they're more likely to have seen something of interest. Oh yeah, I guess I could also go with some of the PvP mounts. Huh. Neat. The mounts are PvP also pretty rare since, nobody plays PvP. I don't know why, it's been great, especially since mild-mannered adventure. I was passing through the North Shroud when I saw a frightful creature with immense red wings. It was a little too far away to see clearly, but it seemed to be battling a group of smaller beasts, which it promptly slaughtered before flying away. Even from a distance, I could make out what it did those smaller creatures. I'll never forget the way its claws ripped through them like a knife through butter. Yeah, I guess, that's armor's only gonna do so much against that. Anyone in here? Ah, yeah, there's one up there who has it. Oh, both are inside here, actually. Weary adventurer. While passing through, I heard some fiend was on a rampage over in the East Shroud. I didn't think much of it at first. When I saw people coming from that direction, looks on their faces, I decided to stay put. Good thing I did too, or I might have died. I don't know exactly what happened in East Shroud, but given the way the survivors were talking, it must have been horrific. Traumatized adventurer. Oh, I saw it. Flying over Central Shroud, with each flap of its massive wings came a powerful wind bearing the scent of blood. So noxious and suffocating, it was all I could do to not vomit where I stood. Those crimson wings and the stench of blood, it'll haunt me till the end of my days. Everyone's got a story to share, but nothing seems to point where it might strike next. Do you do any better? Northeast and Central, huh? Folks, I said was the South. I tell you, it must be trying to make the whole damn forest its territory. Hold on now. One of the guys to talk to was in the East Shroud. Your witness said it was on a rampage, and mine said he never saw it, even though it should come at the same time. That's worth looking into, don't you think? You might be onto something at the least. I'm not saying it's the answer, but you never know where the trail will take you till you follow it. The Dawntrail, that is. We're about to chat up the fell again. Post-venture. This is a gentleman who sauntered through the East Shroud and didn't see a thing, or so he says. As I said before, I was traveling East Shroud on air when I heard what sounded like the flapping of enormous wings. A moment later, I saw a wounded animal charging through the bush. It was then I recalled rumors of monstrosity on the loose, so I realized I was in danger and ran. So the critter was been able to make an escape, but the only way it could have gotten away is if it chose to let it go. Meanwhile, our friend here is close enough to hear the wings flapping, yet live to hear the tail. An adventure traveling alone would have been easy picking, so why did Ilsok spare him? Was he carrying something that none of the other adventurers had? All I had on me were bottled potions and ethers. Oh, but there was another thing. I carry a potpourri with Girabani and Wildgrass, an Alamigan custom, in case you're unaware. That must have gotta be it. Goliath will want to hear about this. Yeah, from his description, it didn't sound like he did something special, but it's possible it has something it doesn't like from... That was odd. I've never seen anyone get so excited about the mere mention of a potpourri, but it takes all sorts, I suppose. Good to hear Alamigo has been recovering since the events of Stormblood, too. It's minor, but it's nice. Although I guess since this job starts at level 80, you kinda have to have gotten through Stormblood stuff to get it. Well, no. Theoretically, you could have just skyrocketed a single job to level 80, jumped over to Ul'dah to unlock it, and then continued the main story from 80. If I remember right, all Viper and Picto, for that matter, requires is to be at least level 80 and have defeated the Ultima weapon. Could you wait here a moment? Keshka's asked me to verify theory. I shan't be long. It's exactly as you surmised. Most of those we'd seen live to tell the tale are Alamigan adventurers. I knew it. That's gotta be the fragrance. A lot of animals have a powerful sense of smell, and Ixog is no exception. Well, which makes it that much more sensitive to odors it doesn't care for. I reckon the beast can't stand the wild grass and those potpourris. It's potent fragrance, a lot like other kinds of grass. Another kind of grass we have in Tyrol. Come to think of it, it never went near that grass while it was anywhere near where that grass was growing. One man's meat is another's poison. Perhaps the same can be said of aromas. Exactly. Now that we know what Ixok can't stomach, we can use this information to drive it where we want it. Then it would behoove me to share our discovery with Innocent Stork. Given the information and contacts at her disposal, I dare say she'll find a way to utilize the fragrance to its maximum potential. I dare say you're right. In the meantime, we'll head over to Girabania and pick up some wild grass. Yes, by all means, we must do everything in our power to avert further tragedy. Many of the adventurers gathered here are so terrified of encountering Ixok, they've considered abandoning the profession entirely. Several are yet fledglings. If they had to contend with a foe far beyond the reckoning, they'd die before gaining enough experience to be considered adventurers. The thought of their futures being snatched away is almost more than I could bear. That's the very reason I joined the Twin Adders, to prevent such senseless deaths. Therefore, I humbly request your cooperation in slaying the dread Ixok Majun. No need. I have every extension of putting the bastard into the dirt. Sounds good to me. To the matter at hand, then. A few moments ago, one of the adventurers mentioned the wild grass we seek grows abundantly in the Pike Falls. Once you've collected enough, let's rendezvous at the quarry mill. I must warn you, though, Girabania is home to some very vicious wildlife. Be on your guard. Ah, interesting. I didn't expect any of them would be taking me to a Stormblood area. Emits a bright, harmless charge. I'm gonna be honest. So since this is my first time doing the special deliveries and crafting, I'm not sure if I'm even gonna like them. I'll probably just go until that mount and decide if I want to continue with any of them. I know a lot of people like doing stuff with like Alphino's mom, but I mean, a lot of people go through that just to put her in a bikini or something, and I'm pretty sure there's way better Rule 34 out there if I want to look at Alphino's mom. This brings back memories. One time I was picking herbs to make a paralyzing agent that works wonders on troll withdrawal. Only thing was I forgot to wear gloves and I couldn't feel my hand for the next 3 days. There we are. I guess they want me to... I could, technically speaking, you can just run away from this and it won't be a problem, but... I probably should get some better accessories. You can tell I haven't been doing much with the aiming gear. Able to execute Reawaken while ignoring the cost. I'm just all Super Saiyan Blue while giving it to him. That I'll do. As much as I'd love to stick around and study the wildlife, we better head on back to Quarry Mill. Vipers on the hunt. I guess that instantly ends the form. That makes sense. Upon being informed of your plan to entrap Ixok, I came as quickly as I could. Now we just need a way to diffuse the extract. You've done well to gather so much wild grass. As promised, I've called upon Innocent Stork to advise us of our next steps. I've placed an order with an alchemist acquaintance for custom-made diffuser pouches, which we may employ to spread the aroma over a wide area while prolonging its potency. We will issue these to the Twin Adder units tasked with driving the beast to an isolated location of our choosing. Away from civilians is an ideal spot for final showdown. That's good thinking. Indeed, once the pouch has been produced, the beast is as good as ours. If I may, there's a further request to make. Rather than slaying Ixok, would you be instead captured alive? Right, she mentioned she wanted alive. Better understands behavior. Such knowledge could be invaluable should predators of a similar nature trouble us in the future. It's a risk we can't afford to take, ma'am. Those hunters of yours tried baiting it with a carcass laced with sedatives, but Ixok saw right through their plan. It's demonstrated a degree of cunning to rival any man's. Even if we did capture it, it's only a matter of time before it escapes and kills again. There's only one way to deal with the monstrosity. You slay it at first chance. No half measures. No hesitations. Then we're left with no other choice. What do you mean, no other choice? You're gonna stick them on us? Pray forgive me for making an ill-considered suggestion. I shall abandon all thought of capturing and instead turn my attention to the procurement of the pouches. You'll hear from me soon. Is she gonna send another one on against us? You'd think she'd realize by now that won't be quite as easy as she thinks. She ought to know by now what we're up against. Why even ask? To be blunt, I don't think we can trust her. I'm glad you could just be blunt about it. I ain't the type to guess at folks' motivations. We should do us a favor and put all our cards on the table. The rich and powerful are rarely so obliging. You got that right, but since us salt-of-the-earth types are speaking our minds, there's a fear in you, but what can of what I can't tell. Guilt-fear thoughts. Never know, I might be able to help, somehow. Well, after talking with those adventurers, I can't help but feel a little scared, that's all. Anyway, I should return to Gridania to make my report. He wants to protect people, but does he want to... Does he expect to be able to tame it so they can use it against... Folks always say one thing but me another, just when I'm starting to believe I've gotten the hang of polite conversation. I ain't no forcing the issue. If Goliath has something to say, he'll say it when he's good and ready. For now, we gotta wait on those pouches, and who knows how long that'll be. I'll keep an eye on things, so I suggest you get ready to face Ixok. Alright, let me grab a sip of my drink. Ah. Into the Viper Pit. He's keen. Goliath sent word that the diffuser pouches are ready. He's heading on over now. Once he arrives, we can finally put this plan into action. Only question is, how does Innocent Stork have him on the payroll? I don't think he was lying when he gave his motivations for joining the Twin Adder, but there's definitely more to it. These pouches have been distributed among the adders, along with instructions on correct handling. You see, according to the alchemist who made them, the aroma of wild grass dulls the senses. For the average person, this would do little more than soothe the nerves, but for a creature with a heightened sense of smell, the effect would be much more pronounced. Dang, we gonna get him high? Guess that would make the fight a lot easier. As for where, Innocent Stork has proposed the Dravanian hinterlands, which she believes is ideal. The surrounding area is largely uninhabited in Idleshire. The only settlement is relatively simple to defend. We already consulted the Ishgardans, and they've given us our blessing to proceed. That's all well and good, but by the look on your face, you're not. I ain't gonna press, but I will suggest once we get to Ravania, you'd best hang back and leave the fighting to us. You know full well I'm keeping things from you, yet you still show concern for my well-being. Why is that? Just my way, I guess, or the way I was trained as a Viper. It's our job to keep folks safe from creatures that go against the natural order. Doesn't matter who you are or whose side you're on, politics, feuds, all that drama, ain't none of that's our concern. I'll admit I got my doubts about you, but you're still someone I need to protect from Ixok, and it's simple as that. There's something you need to know. I was in Western Quarters. Well, as I thought. You went to apart from Quarry Mill. What's keeping you? Lieutenant Goliath, whatever's the matter? You look like someone just walked over your grave. I'm glad to find the two of you in better spirits, though. Seeing as our friend is somewhat under the weather, perhaps it's best he stays behind with me in Idleshire. No objections here, but Goliath and I were having a hard dart, if you don't mind. I do, I'm afraid. We have a schedule to keep, and I must insist our dear Vipers get underway. While you're en route, I'd be happy to lend an ear to him and his troubles. Yeah, there's no way she can be allowed to hear what he's about to say. You needn't worry yourselves, it's of no import. I wish you all good hunting. I can only speculate based on what he said. I can use the chat log to go a little further back, but he was explicitly interrupted before he could say anything of value, so I doubt I'm getting much. Talk about shit timing. That might have even been intentional on her part. For better or for worse, we'll find out what he's holding back soon enough. Anyway, we've got a Troll Vidral to slay. Yeah, let's just go kill it and go home early. Out in Western Coerthus. Idleshire is the only teleportation in the Dravanian hinterlands. The Heavensward areas look really nice, but because... my least favorite reputation quest is probably the Vanu Vanu Heavensward one, largely because they're in the Sea of Clouds, which is very wide and large and widespread, and the quest there sends you to every single individual corner of it. So while it does look nice, you quickly start realizing that it sure sends you out of the way. Right out of the way. Yeah, the Heavensward areas look really nice, but... yeah. I remember during Realm Reborn, a lot of people speculated that Alexander might be the next raid, and in fact that it might take place within. And, oh, look at that, it did. The story was, it was a lot more... A lot of people were harsh on it, but it was also a lot more lighthearted than the Bahamut raids. Which makes sense, though. Oops, I'm way too far out. And I think that was a smart idea. The Bahamut raids were huge because at the time they basically revealed the entire truth behind what happened that split the 1.0 from the 2.0. It was a pretty heavy storyline for the time. But yeah, I think it was better they went lighthearted, because otherwise it would have had way too much difficulty keeping up. No, what am I getting at? Basically, it would have been going against an impossible standard, since everything in the Bahamut raids was about the 1.0 and 2.0 connection, which is absolutely huge. It's not something you can easily recreate. Stormblood did bring things back a bit more, since in Realm Reborn they started setting up for the Omega raids, and which finally paid off there. But they couldn't do that in Heavensward. That would have been too soon. No sign of Ixok, which gives us time to pick a good spot for an ambush. Let me know what you find. While this location offers a commanding view of the area, it does not offer enough space to fight to your full potential. I guess that's true. Given how big it is, this isn't enough. This little square here is not going to cut it. I guess that could work. Cramped conditions offer a limited field of vision. Combat would doubtless prove difficult. Yeah, I mean, if we were able to just dive in and go into that large area, it'd be better, but at the same time, we can't be entirely open. We have to have our own ambush ready. This is definitely a better spot. Although the view is obstructed by a wall, you should be able to remain concealed easily. You've surveyed a number. He'll be eager for your report. Viper is the second selfish DPS job after Samurai, so should be interesting to see how things will play out in this boss fight here, because with Pictomancer I also had some had a shield and some support stuff like that. Here all I have is the just general role quest like Feint, which is a mitigation, nice mitigation. And I guess Bloodbath isn't half bad for some easy some option of self-healing. I found something you're gonna believe. You smell that? It's gotta be Innocent Stork's diffuser pouches. Somebody must have hidden it nearby. A bag of wild grass stinking up the place. There's no way Ixok is ever gonna show. They sent us on a wild alpaca chase, so where is it if it's not here? The Korthus Western Highlands. So that's what he's trying to tell us until he was cut off. With any luck, this clue will lead us to Innocent Stork. He's probably plotting to capture him alive, the stubborn fool. I get the sense we're probably going to be too late. You know, in the 1.0, the Korthus area, I think you actually could go to the Western Highlands there. I have to look it up, but I do know there was more than just Korthus Central, that Realm Reborn has. But there were also a lot more greenery there and such. I guess when they did Realm Reborn, they decided to make it an ice-themed area for the purposes of more biome variety. No sign of the tricksters or Ixok. We'd best keep searching. Pretty sure we're just gonna find corpses at this rate. Still, I do appreciate they're using later areas instead of keeping it to Realm Reborn areas like a lot of other quests have done in the job quests have been doing. Ah, there they are. I believe Pictomancer also did that. Where they used a number of the Stormblood areas. Oh. Well however, it is an esteemed vipers who, with all their supposed skill and intellect, asserted that capturing their great Istok was nay impossible. Perhaps you were simply afraid. As you can see, I proved equal to the task. All it took was a little ingenuity. I understand his cunning and cruelty better than anyone. There's no way you got in that cage without... Wait, where's your bodyguard? You yourself observed how attempting to lure Ixok with obvious bait ended in failure, but a beast is a beast, a predator that is compelled to hunt. Casualties are inevitable, and a prudent strategy must account for them. An exceptional one, however, would leverage this element to its advantage, as mine did. Oh. You ordered him to put sedatives in his pocket and then face Ixok alone. It was over before it began, his screams still ring in my ears. Clearly, we should be feeding the monster to the Vidral. So you fed Ixok sedatives and your bodyguard along with them. You're telling me he willingly offered himself up? Enthusiastically, even. All a plan to ensure his plague-stricken family received treatment, the duration of which will be determined by his performance. He all but leapt within the beast's maw. As I'm sure Goliath would agree, there's no limit to what we can accomplish when given the appropriate incentive. Why go to such despicable lengths just to capture Ixok in the first place? I have a pretty good idea, but I want to hear it from your mouth. Oh, please, everyone's getting what they wanted. Let's not quibble over the details. As a gesture of goodwill, even answer your question, rudely asked though it was. Everyone has their own unique proclivities, and I'm no exception. I have awoken the thrill of bringing rare and ferocious beasts under my power. But that only whets my appetite for a true pleasure, when I unleash my pets upon the worthy opponents to enact scenes of glorious carnage. I've met my share of monsters, but nothing compared to you. Oh dang, Zokeshika's also on my side that she's the bigger monster between those two. A monster and a fool. That there's a troll of a drawl. The moment you open that cage, it'll rip you to shreds. Indeed it would, if it were so inclined. But if Ixok is as intelligent and bloodthirsty as you say, he'll soon learn I can provide a constant supply of worthy prey. In return, it can accept me as its master. It has enough personality to know that it has enough personality to be cruel and sadistic, but... So, wait, it's awake? If it has a range attack, then... Fuck! I grow tired of this place. That doesn't look like a creature from that's native to this area. One of my lesser pets should be more than adequate to dispose of you. After all, I loathe to release Ixok while it remains subdued, and loathe I may not be watching. Do try to put on good show regardless. This is a creature that was most likely taken from its home in Thavnair. Even if I left it alone, and even if I just grabbed the job trainer and ran, it would just die of cold, frostbite in here. There's more pressing matters at hand. Well, that was easy. Well, I am overgeared for this. This is the level 97 quest. Alright, maybe I can transfer some ki into here while I'm in my blue form. It's probably pronounced Keshwa or something like that. Thanks, oh yeah. Damn it, I can't believe anyone would be stupid enough to try taming a Taral Vidrol. Never mind Ixok himself. Oh, don't worry, I'm sure it'll be even more ridiculous once we get Valigarmonda as a mount. Willie sticks in my craws. He's dancing to Innocent Stork's tune. Here I was thinking he was in need of our help. She must be manipulating him. You're right. There's definitely more of this than meets the eye. Anyways, no point in freezing our asses off. Let's go to Quarry Mill and think things over. Yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of the pointy shoes. Then again, I guess since it does use monk striking gear, I could probably... No, it doesn't use monk gear. It uses, what's it called? It uses, scouting gear, ninja. Unfortunately, I don't have much ninja gear either, because that was also behind for quite a while. I did main it back in Heaven's Ward, but eventually it had way too many off-global cooldown skills, and weaving gets exhausting when I have to do too much of it. I know. Gold Heart. I believe that's the achievement for getting all trusts level 100. That's the title, I mean. It's not hard, it's just a little time consuming because of how slow the runs are. But I'll, of course, be doing it eventually. One thing I know for certain is Ixok ain't gonna play obedient pet for long. She's gonna find out the hard way, but I reckon that'll be after she gets the urge to indulge her twisted appetites. I'll do what I can to suss out where she's gone before then. Then there's Goliath. The Twin Adders need to know what he's been up to and that he's still alive, for now at least. You get back to your training. Cage or not, Ixok's out there and our job ain't done till it's dead. Vengeance of the Viper. Since last time we spoke, the Twin Adder's been looking for Goliath, but they ain't find no hide nor hair of him. Meanwhile, there've been plenty of Ixok sightings. Seems Innocent Stork's been putting her new pet to work. I expect that's why Goliath's commanding officer asked for our help. Let's head over to the Adder's Nest to see what he has to say. And Snake's some good at getting some good PR in this game. I've swapped off between the grand companies to get my rank up, although I still need to do the, what's it called? Thing to upgrade as captain. Servant Captain, it's good to finally meet you both. Goliath spoke very highly of you and your contributions toward our hunt for Ixok Majun. Speaking of which, you said you had information for us, quick. We received multiple eyewitness reports of a creature surpassing even the most elite marks. It dispatches its victims quickly before flying away. At Innocent Stork's direction, I'd wager. She's setting him loose to kill for her own amusement. Those slain are mostly roaming adventurers, but the circumstances of each attack suggest an escalation. It's striking in broad daylight, close to more populated settlements. The risk of massacre grows greater by the day. There's also another matter which I may discuss, which may shed some light on the situation. We received a letter from Goliath. Though the details are sparse, he wishes to resign from Twin Adders. The letter includes a message for the two of you. Do recall our discussion at Southern Thanlin. Though my aspirations were beyond me, I pray that you succeed in filling your own. I remember Goliath. You wanted to prevent those bright futures from dying. That's why you joined the Twin Adders. Wait. That talk was in the Shroud, not Thanlin. That means he mentions R, which is to protect people from rampaging beasts. Don't you see, he's telling us Ixok's gonna appear in Southern Thanlin. Ah, that's ideal. A hidden message, albeit not particularly well hidden one. If Innocent Stork read this, she surely would have divined its intent. I can only surmise she knew and allowed the letter to be sent regardless. What better way to lure you into a confrontation than by taking advantage of Goliath's sincere plea for help? It's possible she might have gotten rid of him by the time we get there. Well, if so, I'll just make sure we take her head as well as Ixox. Trap or not, the confrontation suits me fine. If it's a show she wants, we're happy to oblige. And now that I have the burst phase... As for where, she doubtless wishes to avoid attracting the attention of the immortal flames of Mamalja, the Sogoli Desert, like it is not. I'll send word to Uldar, but in the meantime, I wish you every success. Yeah, she may be growing more bold, but she's not quite at the point she would consider it, or it's worth risking the ones with an actual army to go after her. Kind of like how one of the role quests had one particular, Springs, here we are. Had one particular, her enemy, avoid a public confrontation until he felt confident. Here we go, this is gonna be a big one. Yep, here we are, the duty. Like I said, when I did this for Pictomancer, I actually had to manage my mitigations and be careful about it because, it was kicking my ass, that boss. So this one's probably not gonna be too different now that I'm in middle eye gear. Let me grab a sip of my drink and I'll dive right in. Yeah, it's very clear that she was trying to do this plan from the start, because even from the start, she ordered her experts to capture it alive. Another carcass. This was Ixox's work. Didn't expect the trail to be this easy to pick up, but maybe we should have. All it's left now is walk straight into the trap. No viper where their soul ever shied from danger, am I right? Level sinks in effect. Vengeance of the Viper. For the record, I haven't even gotten close to mastering the Viper's rotation, so I apologize in advance for screwing it so badly in the upcoming boss fight, but that's how it goes sometimes. I'll work on it on my own time, as per usual. Those gold bands, that was not any old... It might have been a Malja mount. Something. Such grace and power, magnificent self-given form, worthy of awe. Alas, these mediocre distractions are a poor canvas for your art. It's over, innocent stork. On the contrary, the main attraction is just beginning. Goliath, what have you done to him? After his childish trick with a coded letter, I decided to let Ixox punish him. An appetizer, if you will. So she did figure it out. All that money and privilege in the world, and this is how you choose to use it. Killing for the sake of killing? You're no better than a troll of a draw. A monster that deserves to die. A flattering comparison, though you seem to be forgetting the literal monster stands before you. Yeah, I'm looking at her right now. Ixox, I brought you a fresh prey. Yeah, this alliance of his is only one of convenience. He'll turn on her the first chance he gets. He just doesn't feel like it right now. Oh, I haven't forgotten about you. A coward through and through I knew, but I thought you had some pride. Guess I was wrong. It's time. Ixok Majun is ours. I would hate for this to end too quickly. Why not toy with them a little? Okay, I'm still learning a lot of moves. We can't afford any mistakes. Stay sharp, Koda. Right, I need to remember. I don't know when. Yeah, I basically only just got it to 90, so I have not done much with its first phase. Worthy foes indeed. Time for games is over. What was that? Some underhanded tactic, no doubt. She's just gonna be standing there buffing him, I imagine. Ah, interesting. Is that the limit of your power? Kill them now. Oopsie. Well, might as well just do my little range attack. Interestingly, Monk is the only job in the entire game that does not have a ranged attack they can use during downtime or for ranged pulling. Something's wrong. Don't tell me. Oh, you great brute, move! It's about the end of its rope. That's it. That's it. Innocent Stork has just made a huge mistake. Is this all you're truly capable of? Are you not satisfied with the prey provided? You have all you want and more, but if only obey. Kill them now, I demand it. This ain't the Ixok I know, and I reckon Innocent Stork is the reason why. I can smell the wild grass, a less potent mixture than the one we doled out before, but just enough to keep him at arm's length. But even that's too much for his senses. That's why it's owled and can't think straight. I see, because she kept some insurance to keep it from attacking her. Even so, she's made a fool's bet. Ixok only tolerated Innocent Stork and her shenanigans to sate its own bloodlust. Two apex predators can't make nice forever. I'm not done with you yet. Oh no, don't tell me he's about to sacrifice himself to take it away. Goliath, you stubborn worm! If he gets that pouch away from her, she's what? He's no longer weakened. Maybe now I can concentrate on the fight. Alright, Koda, give it everything you got. I actually do like the Dawntrail boss theme. And that lasted a good while, so everything should be back to normal. I see, it's this mechanic. Not a problem. Ow. Dick. It's acting strangely, be careful. Is that a back AoE? Looks like it. Oh no, that's a raid wide. Oh, that packed a punch. 10 seconds, oh we're... Let's damn, this ain't over. Not by a long shot. He stunned it. Coda, you alright? The wings, they accumulate ether before the beast strikes. Elias is right, when it spreads its wings, it's ready for a huge attack. Come together now. Come on together now. Right for the wings, keep it pinned down. Gathers power in its wings. Right, the transformation is also a global cooldown. I have to be wary of that. There we are. You did it. Now for the other wing. That did the trick. I know a little trick here. Aw, arm's length didn't work. No, it didn't activate arm's length for some reason. Whatever. Great ball of fire. Is it gonna aim it at him? Or no? There we are. I was hoping it'd auto-attack me since arm's length gives the enemy a slow debuff, which is good for mitigation, but I guess it's also a boss, and those are usually immune to slow status, so... Mitigate that. Ow, that hurt like hell. I lost the debuff because of that. Gotta keep all my buffs active. definitely gonna want to be here. Too late, buddy. The blue form is already here. We got it. Now, Viper really does feel a lot better now that you have the its own powered, souped-up mode. Doesn't feel quite as satisfying as the Reaper's Enshroud, but it's up there, that's for sure. O restless beast, may you find peace in death, as the serpent sheds its skin, relinquish this husk, that you may rise again to meet a new dawn. Innocent Stork genuinely believed she could bend a creature like that to her will. That arrogance cost her life. She never understood what she was dealing with, or afforded it a proper respect. She took her superiority for granted, but the power she wielded to flaw the laws of men was powerless against the natural order. Goliath, Coda, thank you for everything. It was a damn sight harder than I reckoned it'd be, but I finally avenged my brothers in arms and fulfilled my duty. I can once again hold my head high. Feels good, man. The monster has finally been laid to rest. And we managed to beat the Troll of Vidral as well, which is always nice. The hunt's finished. All that remains for me is for me to face my punishment. Yeah, I'm afraid you're gonna have to deal with that, buddy. That's not something I can fix. Ixok might be dead. We still have a loose end or two to tie up. You haven't told us why you led us on a merry chase for innocent Stork, so may as well come clean now. Well, when I was a young child, my merchant parents were slain by a wild creature on their travels. I meant what I said at Fallguard. I swore to save others from a similar fate, and that's why I joined the Twin Adders. Okay, I didn't think he was lying about that in particular, but there was something he would left out. Oh, commendable motivation. And then I had met Innocent Stork, who explained with great enthusiasm, shared my desire to protect others by bringing these beasts to heal. I thought I found a kindred spirit, but later I realized she'd fed me nothing but lies. She'd used me to obtain information collected by the Twin Adders, all for the sake of identifying potential additions to her menagerie. I disclosed all manner of sensitive intelligence to her, believing it was in furtherance of her efforts. By the time I learned of her true intentions, it was too late. I confronted her, told her I was going to inform my superior. She smiled and laughed, said she would unleash her fiends upon Gridania if I spoke a word, with some of her finest reserves specifically for my family. Oh, don't worry, I'll make sure to clean those up before they can harm anyone. Although we should probably release most of those back in the wild. Like I said, that creature that she sent against us was probably taken from the island of Thavnair, which is, let's just say it's a very different biome from the cold there. It would have died very quickly if we hadn't slayed it. And I doubt she even cared. I'm guessing it was Innocent Stork's idea to have you join the investigation. It was. It's no excuse for what I did, allowing myself to become a pawn, so led to such needless suffering. Nothing I can say or do will ever be enough for forgiveness. Whatever punishment awaits me, I shall accept it. Vokoda, what do you think? Bluntly, I think we should just hand over the twin adders. They're much better equipped for handling this sort of thing. I was thinking the same thing. It's up to them to decide this punishment, not us. Huh, we're of the same mind. Quite right. I will request my superior meets with us, where I shall give a full account. It's settled then. Meet us there whenever you're ready. That said, the big thing I didn't like about Viper is whenever I did a roulette or something with it and got a really low level, like if you get synced to anything below 30, you only have your 1-2 combos here. You don't get the till 20 and 30, you don't have your AoE combos till a lot later. So it's gonna be a little dull until later content, but I guess if you main it, you're generally going to only be doing endgame content with it, which you don't usually have to worry about as much. As a soldier of the Twin Adders, your actions are inexcusable. Once I've made a report, expulsion will be the least of your worries. There will likely be a trial. And where I come from, we don't take kindly to liars neither. Our word is our bond. The violation of trust demands punishment. But I will say this, the lies he told to protect people, not only that, the action he took did contribute to the defeat and death of Ixok. I won't say the ends justify the means, but I will say it's not nothing. Duly noted, though I trust you understand this consideration may not change the outcome. Yes, sir. Ain't my place to tell you folks you're handling business. I'm just a simple man who crossed the salt to kill a withdrawal. But if Goliath isn't stuck in the self for the foreseeable future, I do have something he can help me with. You see, now that my business here is concluded, it's high time I made my way home. Trouble is, passage back is more than I can presently afford. I'm gonna need to put in some work, and I reckon Giz can help me find my clients in need of a Viper's skills. For a simple man who knows better than to tell us how to handle our business, you sure struck upon an intriguing solution. Well, I've spent a fair bit of time in the company of a silver-tongued someone. Goliath, your conduct cannot easily be forgiven. Even so, it must be acknowledged you did play a vital role in the slaying of Ixok. Swear to never stray from the path and no charge will be brought. Moreover, I will accept your voluntary resignation as you did previously request. With this arrangement, you may yet pursue your dream of defending the innocent, in your capacity as Keshwa's assistant. What say you? I shall do as you ask, I have my word. Though I will bear the shame of my misdeeds as long as I live, I shall endeavor to redeem myself through the service of the people. You can start by finding me some beasties to slay. Well, it seems I'll be sticking around in Eorzea a little while longer. In the meantime, you're sure to find clients of your own. I reckon this continent's more than big enough for the both of us. Wherever there are folks in need of a Viper, that's where we'll be. Victorious Viper. Oh hey, Goliath is in a new uniform. Now that I'm no longer an adder, I have no choice but to hand in my uniform. With my new garb, I'm ready to fend off forest-dwelling fiends alongside Keshwa. How it goes at Koda? Hunted any challenging prey lately? How fare you as of late? Like back in Tyrol, I've been working as a Viper, putting down all kinds of beasts. The only difference is now Goliath is the one finding clients for me. We must be doing something right, because Gil's been rolling in. Still got a ways to go before I've earned enough of the ferry back home, though. Goliath actually suggests using some of my savings to pay for a trip to Ishgard and Sharlayan so I can hunt marks further afield. I'm happy to go where I need it, even if it does set me back a little. What is that? Oh yeah, let's review. What is a Viper? The art of the Viper has been passed down to Tyrol since ancient times. We used to protect the folk from deadly creatures. Back home we got beasts called Tyrol Vidral to deal with. Fusion offshoot of more common species, but the far larger, meaner, and often strange power... They're usually an offshoot of a more common species, but larger, meaner, and often have strange powers to boot. That's why our ancestors looked to snakes for inspiration, because they can take on foes a lot bigger than themselves. Our fighting techniques are to mimic quick, agile movements. After a while, people called us Vipers, and I guess the name just stuck. We still specialize in hunting Tyrol Vidral, but we'll deal with any beasts that need killing. So while there's no Vidral here in Eorzea, I carry on like I would back in Tyrol, putting my skills to use to the benefit of all. Though if I were to hit the road again, I heard you tell about these creatures east of here. Over the passing of the years, apparently gained powers similar to those of Vidral. Folks there call them allspices. Might be nice to meet one in the flesh, see how they compare. Yeah, I'd definitely say I like Viper a lot more now that, I have reawakened for their burst phase. That really does make a big difference to their overall fun. And of course, Zidane's fighting, it's loosely based off Zidane's fighting style, similar to how Gunbreaker was loosely based upon Squalls. Works rather well. Although, interestingly, when Machinist first came out in Heaven's Ward, that was based largely off Mustadio, since a lot of Heaven's Ward takes inspiration from Final Fantasy Tactics, the original. So it was mostly gunplay more than anything else, but in recent expansions, they've given it more gadgets, so it feels more like Edgar from Final Fantasy VI, if you're familiar with that. So, plenty of fun gadgets to be had. Yeah, Astro and Dark Knight have debuted in Heaven's Ward, which are also ones that were famously in Final Fantasy Tactics. So yeah, I'll definitely have to update my gear here. It's a shame I can't get a Endwalker relic for Viper. That would have been nice, but in the general sense, I appreciate that Endwalker did at least... Well, it's a shame that Endwalker's relic quest was so easy, since it basically just required tomes for everything. Now that the expansion's over, it is nice having a clear Poetics tome dump, because as you can see, I'm starting to get to the point where I don't need leveling gear anymore, and once I reach that point, there won't be much of anything to spend Poetics on in general, so having a nice, easy Poetics dump like a relic or something is gonna be kinda nice. I don't really want to end the stream now, but it looks like I'm officially done with the story. And I do like how even the poses will change a bit here. First was the battle stance, the next one is the victory pose. Here we are. Yeah, I really don't like the way the Void Moon necklace looks, so I'll have to redo it. Does the Choker of Amy look better? A little bit. It's not really a necklace, though. More like a, I don't even know. Well, whatever. I'll be able to throw out all my leveling gear as soon as everything's maxed out, and that'll really save inventory space, which is definitely one of the biggest perks of leveling everything. Like what I'm doing. It basically means I don't have to worry about leveling gear until the next expansion, and whatever jobs those bring. But for now, I'd say that's going to be good enough. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Well, I'm not going to end the stream. I'm going to switch games. But if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll probably swap the... I'll probably cut the VODs in half, so it'll be easy enough to go back. So that people who only care about one game only have to worry about that one. So if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. Hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later.